36. Report of the Committee of Claims in the case of the Levi Court of Calvert County. February 6, 1822. Read, and committed to a committee of the whole House tomorrow. The Committee of Claims, to whom was referred the claim of the Levi Court of Calvert County, in the state of Maryland, report. The committee beg leave to refer the House to the report made to Congress op the 10th of December, 1817, by the late Commissioner of Claims, for a statement of the facts in this case. Admitting the allegations of the claimants to be true, the committee are of opinion that the case does not constitute a proper demand against the government. For a further view of the reasons for this opinion, the committee would respectfully call the attention of the House to the report they made on this claim, on the 18th of December, 1817. The following resolution is submitted to the House. Resolved, that the claim of the Levi Court of Calvert County ought not to be granted. Claim of the Levi Court of Calvert County, in the state of Maryland. This claim is brought forward by the Levi Court of Calvert County, in the state of Maryland, to obtain compensation for the courthouse and jail of said county, alleged to have been destroyed by the enemy in consequence of said houses having been in the military occupation of the United States, as a military deposit. The courthouse is valued by the claimants at $55,000, and the jail at $81,800. 2C 36, I. Evidence as to occupation and destruction. George W. Crane deposes that, sometime previously to the burning of the courthouse by the enemy, the key of the courthouse was demanded of him by Captain Rutter, a commander of one of the boats belonging to the United States flotilla, under the command of Commodore Barney. Upon deponent stating his belief that there was no key belonging to the courthouse, Captain Rutter remarked that he must obtain possession of it, if he should be obliged to break open the door. Afterwards, Captain Rutter, with a number of men, whom deponent supposed to belong to the flotilla, took possession of the courthouse, and deposited therein a number of arms and other military stores. The sick and wounded men were also brought to, and accommodated in, said courthouse. The courthouse remained in Captain Rutter's occupation till a few days before its destruction by the enemy. Elizabeth Crane deposes that, when the enemy came to said courthouse, she was there, and, in conversation with some of the British officers, solicited them not to burn it. They replied, that if Commodore Barney and his men had not been harbored in it, they would not have come to it, nor have burnt it. Thomas Billingsley deposes that, on the day on which the enemy burned the courthouse, a British officer told him, that he, with a parcel of troops, had been to said courthouse, in consequence of hearing that Commodore Barney was there, and under the expectation of meeting him there, that on said British officer's arrival at said courthouse, Commodore Barney had gone away, but, that the appearance of huts having been erected, the exercise of cannon on the ground before said courthouse, manifested its having been made a military stand, and that, therefore, he, the said British officer, had caused the courthouse to be burnt. Dr. Thomas Hamilton, surgeon to Commodore Barney's flotilla, deposes that, in the summer of 1814, he, together with Captain Rutter, second in command of said flotilla, took possession of said courthouse, and occupied it, for some considerable time, as a hospital for the sick and wounded, and also a military storehouse to keep medicinal and other stores, and for other purposes, that around the courthouse cannon was planted, and it was guarded as a military post, and, as such, would have been defended against any equal force of the enemy. 2. Evidence as to value. John Ireland, John T. Patterson, and Alexander Skinner, depose, that, in their belief, the courthouse was worth, at the time of its destruction, $3,100, and that the materials remaining were worth $00. This latter sum, deducted from the former, leaves a balance of $3,000 as the actual loss of the claimants. No proof has been offered of the occupation and destruction of the jail. C-36-3 The claimants depose that they have not received anything from any officer, agent, or department of the government of the U. States for the destruction of their courthouse, that they did not agree with any officer or agent of the United States to run any risk on account of the use or employment of the same in the public service, that they have not received any other voucher or certificate relating to their claim, from any officer, or other person, at any time, except what is now exhibited before the Commissioners, that in consequence of Captain Rutter's being at sea, as they have been informed, their diligent and proper endeavors to procure his testimony have failed, and that the evidence which they have offered, is the best which they could procure in the case. Summary of facts. First, the occupation of the courthouse, previously to its destruction by the enemy in the summer of 1814, as a place of deposit for military stores, under the authority of an officer of the United States, is proved by Dr. Hamilton, surgeon to Commodore Barney's flotilla. 2d At the time of destruction, it had been evacuated a few days by the troops under Commodore Barney, but the enemy burnt it because it had been so occupied, assigning that as the sole reason for his conduct. 3d The value of the damage sustained is ascertained to have been $3,000. There is no proof exhibited that the jail was burnt by the enemy. All which is respectfully submitted. Richard Bland Lee, GCAC. Office of Claims, C. Washington, 10 December, 1817.